Good afternoon, and welcome to this conversation, an ongoing conversation we've been having with people from Road Scholar, one of the premier trucking companies here in the Northeast. Jimmy Barrett is here. He's the owner.
Good morning or afternoon.
Yeah, whatever that is, right? And we have Jared Thomas, one of the esteemed drivers, one of the people that makes things go at Road Scholar. And we're going to talk a little bit today, maybe a lot, about what it's like to work for Road Scholar, but also, what are the challenges that truck drivers face? We know we have massive shortages of truck drivers. Road Scholar is always looking for more drivers. They're always looking for more pros to join their team. So we're going to talk to Jared primarily today about that aspect of the business. And it's the aspect of the business. Jimmy Barrett, you started out as a truck driver. You did sales, but you're a CDL and you have an active CDL license. So you have an appreciation of what the drivers go through that many other business owners don't have.
Bobby, that's an absolute fact. I do.
Well, first, let's say hello to Jared. Jared, welcome.
Thank you.
This is just pretend you're in the cab, I guess.
Right. Yeah. About that size.
Yeah. So you've been driving for how long?
About 10 years.
10 years. Where did you originally learn to drive truck and get your CDL?
I went to a little school just north of Clark Summit. I forget the name of the town, but
Transamerica.
Transamerica Technical Institute.
Mm-hmm.
Small school, but they definitely did a good job of teaching up there.
Yeah. So you've been driving for about 10 years. How long have you been with Road Scholar?
About a year and a half.
Okay. Well, you've been a few places before. Were they bigger companies or smaller?
A little bit of both. I started out, my first job was Schneider. I was doing over the road, 6 days out, 3 days home. I didn't last very long because at the time my wife was pregnant and my daughter came about, a couple months into that job. So I left them for something more local.
And you live in Susquehanna, correct?
I do.
So how far is that from at least one of the hubs for Road Scholar, Dunmore?
It takes me about 40 minutes.
40 minutes
to get to the terminal.
So you made a quality of life decision fairly early in your career that you wanted flexibility and you needed more time at home. And that was really the basis for your decision. And you eventually ended up with Road Scholar.
Yes, that's correct. I definitely wanted something where I could be home every night, have the weekends off, spend as much time with my family as possible.
Well, tell us what does a typical day entail for you with Road Scholar Trucking?
I like to start my morning.
Chaos?
A little bit of chaos. Not too bad. Start coming in around 5 o'clock in the morning. That way I know that I won't be out all night. You only have 14 hours in a day that you can work per federal regulations.
Mm-hmm.
So it started early, get it done. That way I can get all the work I can done and get home to my family.
What's a typical route that you would take, and what would you haul?
Anywhere and everything. Pretty much anywhere within a 5-hour radius. There's a lot of stores that we return to, but no day is ever the same. We haul pretty much everything out to Long Island, up to Massachusetts, Jersey, Maryland. We cover a lot of ground.
We were talking before we started, and I was telling you, I said, I have this little truck driver. I wanted to be a truck driver since you're a little kid. I think many people did. But now the reality of driving truck, it's an intense profession.
Right.
It's not for everyone, but it's an important one. It's absolutely critical to the economy. I mean, we're seeing this not only in Canada as we speak,
Right.
But we may be seeing it in the United States shortly, that if a trucker doesn't bring it, it doesn't come.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. It's definitely not an ideal career, especially if you don't want to work a lot of hours. in a lot of ways, I feel like the trucking industry itself is broken. Just because of all the hours drivers are expected to work and expected to stay out for long periods of time. Now there's guys that want to do that, and that's perfectly fine. Especially guys that own their own trucks and stuff. They can run however they want. Company guys are a lot of times just whatever the company you're driving for, you're at their mercy. The thing I like about Road Scholar is that we have positions where we have day cabs, so we can be home every day. I've driven for several different companies, and it's definitely the best company that I've found so far.
And they've delivered on their promises to you. You said, "Here's what I want,"
right?
And they delivered.
They've been very flexible, as far as scheduling goes. I'm taking college courses right now too, so they're working with me, making sure I have time to do that at home. I'm doing that part-time, so it's not taking up too much time, but they're still flexible where I can do that, still have weekends off and spend time with my family. So it's definitely the best company I've found so far.
How many, do you have more than one child now?
Yeah, I have 3.
Oh, wow. Good. Yep. Good. So time and time management and flexibility at Road Scholar is a real key to your being able to enjoy the job, but also do the job.
Right. Yeah. There's definitely not going to be, it's called work. It's not called fun. You're there to do a job. You're not there to always have a good time. So you're going to put the hours in, you're going to do the work. But at the end of the day, they do the best they can to work with you, take care of your needs. There's days that I got to get home earlier to be able to pick up my kids. So I want to be able to provide for them, do the best I can for the company, at the same time being the best husband and father I can for my family. So they've been able to provide that here at Road Scholar.
So Road Scholar talks about being a team.
Right.
We've had the conversations with Jimmy Barrett, and I know your boss is right here.
Boss is a four-letter word.
Boss is, that's right. Boss is not the word they use, but Jimmy's here. But it seems like this is what you would say under any setting, and you're just comfortable with people who are at least theoretically your superiors in the company, and that everybody is a team. Right.
Yeah. And I don't want to throw anyone under the bus or whatever, but I don't have to, it's the way I do feel.
Yeah.
Of course there's going to be good and bad days, just like anywhere else. Any job's going to have those. I enjoy most of the time out here. I'm not going to say it's always a blast, but there's definitely some good situations, some not so good. You're going to find yourself in some nice, easy spots to go to with the truck. Some are going to be tighter. You're going to be doing some working, not a whole lot of unloading freight yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some which I don't mind. I like getting out of the truck and moving around a bit. It's hard to stay healthy being a truck driver, sitting all day, sit behind the wheel, staring out the window. And there's not a lot of time juggling everything else to spend time going to the gym or, stuff like that. But it's definitely been beneficial to work here.
Well, one of the things that, I've heard a lot of truckers complain about is the equipment that they have, the condition of the equipment. It's in many cases, it's almost something to overcome,
right,
instead of something to make your job easier or better.
Right.
Tell us about the state of the equipment at Road Scholar.
The only reason we don't have any nicer equipment is because we can't get it off the line fast enough. I've known there's been trailers and trucks ordered that haven't been come in yet because of everything with the pandemic.
Yeah.
Things are hard to get. I've been driving my truck probably for about a year. They're trying so hard to get trucks that they had to buy used trucks, and that's what I got. 50,000 miles on it. It's not very used in the trucking industry.
That's not very much, yeah.
No.
And what we do, Bobby, is we have a monogamous relationship, truck driver to truck. So Jared's truck's his truck. He doesn't have to worry about somebody come in there and adjusting the seat, adjusting the mirrors, smoking in it, or what have you. So that's his property.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, the biggest thing with that is you have so much stuff in your truck that you need. You don't know when you need, but you need. So you don't have to bring that stuff in and out of the truck with you all the time. It's there, it's set. I mean, even with me, if taking time off or whatever, the truck, it'll be used if someone needs it to use for like a day or something. But for the most part, it'll sit there and wait till you come back.
So that truck, even if it may not have the initials, it says JT, and that's you.
Yeah, pretty much. That's my truck. If someone's even been in it and your seat's moved, it could have been even someone driving around the yard washing it, or someone was in it, but that's just because you know how it's set up and set up the same time every time you get in it.
Yeah. Over the 10 years, and it's not a long career at this point, what have been the changes that have happened, and maybe some of the challenges that you see are emerging for drivers?
It's hard to see a lot of changes or tell for the most part, just because I've been with different companies. You just see how different companies are run and how they treat you, what they say to you, if if you can trust them or not. 'Cause there's a lot of lies that are told. Oh yeah, they promise you the world, and then you come in and it's do what they say. It's not what you wanted.
And suffice it to say, you didn't experience it at Road Scholar, but you had these experiences with other firms.
Right. Yeah. And one of the last jobs I had, I was told was going to be local all the time. And then we ended up just staying in hotels all week long and coming back on the weekends. And that's why I left them. Home time's important, and I wasn't getting it there.
And Bobby, we're seeing more and more of that. So we have to be very chameleon-like, adapt our dispatches to suit the needs of the guys and gals in the trucks, right?
You're one of, I believe it's 72 drivers you got overall. How many drivers?
No, about 120.
Oh, I'm sorry. So about 120. I heard that number somewhere. And do you get to know a lot of the other drivers?
Not really. You come in for the most part and you get your paperwork and you got your truck. It's not a very, I don't want to say not friendly, but you're not conversing. You see people in the yard and stuff. You give them a wave. I know a couple other drivers that are here that I've known from other jobs that I helped recruit here and have worked with at other places. So I talk to them, them. But any other drivers, I'll say hi to in passing, but that's about it.
Well, you just mentioned that you recruited a couple of drivers. So obviously, when you got to Road Scholar, you thought this is a good place to be. And I'm more than happy to tell people this is a good place to work.
Right. Yeah. There's no secret about it. They give you a little money to, for recruiting or whatever, but it's not about that. I mean, everyone likes money, of course, but other drivers, you want to help them out too. They, what they're working like if you've worked there before, and what their hours are, how hard they're working or how they're being treated. I'd rather have those drivers here working where I am, where I know I'm happier, and help them out that way.
So you've adapted well to the team concept at Road Scholar, and you seem to enjoy it and be comfortable with it. But it's obviously it's not your only interest. I mean, you've got family issues, not issues. You got family, 3 kids,
right,
all young. I mean, that's quite a project in and of itself. So driving can't be the be all and end all, and it can't be aggravating because you've got to go home and be a father to your kids and a husband to your wife.
Right. Yeah. I got 3 kids under the age of 9. So they're all young. They can't fully take care of themselves. The youngest is 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes both me and my wife. I owe her all the credit because she's very flexible. She's a RN. So she has a full-time job, and she can't take off all the time. I can't it's a juggle between us, splitting up duties, especially with the pandemic, which makes it even harder for childcare, daycare, being open, being closed.
Mm.
One kid gets sick in a daycare and the whole thing's closed down for 2 weeks or whatever. So it's definitely a juggle. It's a struggle, but we're getting through it.
Road Scholars helped you and worked with you on all of your personal challenges during everything, COVID, and during your entire time there.
Right, because I've had COVID myself, so I had to be out for a week for that, which makes the kids have to be in close contact, so they're off of school and daycare, and two of my sons have now had it, so it's just been a nightmare. But Road Scholar has worked with me, especially between me and my wife. It's not easy, but we're able to do it. You know, there's times that I tell them I have to be home by a certain time in order to pick up my kids for dance class, soccer practice, to get them off the bus.
And it only gets worse, by the way. You'll see.
Yeah. It's about to get a lot worse here soon.
Yeah. Now you are with the National Guard, and you're going to be deployed shortly overseas, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
I can't tell you too much, operational security, but I can tell you that I'll be leaving for about a year. We're going to Egypt, and more to just have a presence there, a NATO coalition mission, just to be ready in case anything was ever to happen. Mm-hmm. We're not going there to fight anybody. We're just going to make a presence. And
Road Scholar has obviously adapted to your role in the National Guard as well.
Right. There's been several times where I've been away for trainings. I've gone to different schools. I've been in the Guard for 7 years now, so there's lots of things that I've done. National Guard definitely doesn't follow through on a lot of their promises, but the whole 2 weeks a year, 1 week in a month.
Remember, this is being broadcast.
Yeah, that's all right. Everyone in the Guard knows it. The weekends end up being 5-day weekends, 4-day weekends. The 2 weeks a year can happen, but there's different schools and opportunities. You know, some of it's on me because it's a fun school to go to or whatever, but it's definitely a challenge being a soldier and being a truck driver at the same time.
Do you feel it's made you a better driver?
I'd say a better leader. Being able to do both. Definitely better time management. Mm-hmm. There's definitely benefits to being a soldier. I enjoy it. I mean, it's fun blowing stuff up too. Because I'm a mortarman, so we drop bombs down a tube and send them off. So it's a pretty important job to do. But I think it helps me grow and develop more as a leader. And as a student, you know, I've tried college right out of high school the first time, and that didn't end up as good as I would have liked it to. You know, I'm on the path now because I don't have a degree. And now being a soldier and going to school and truck driving, I'm able to have straight A's in my classes now because I have that discipline to continue my studies while being able to work and juggle family. So I think it's been very beneficial.
What's your rank in the military?
Staff sergeant.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
One of the guys that yells at everybody.
Oh, a little bit. That's not always my tactic. I figured out it wasn't the best tactic with my kids. They don't listen when you yell at them. You can't beat them. So I haven't made them do push-ups.
Now, Jimmy, when you have a guy like Jared that's just striving for more, I mean, that's really your ideal candidate.
Absolutely. He's there to use the word leadership. They learned at the reserves. That's what we're looking for.
And he's required, you know, Jared's out there. So this experience in the military, this experience educationally, and with his family all add into that because he's got to make decisions of all kinds all day.
The qualities that Jared brings to the table, right, are so welcome, right? Because there are drivers, there's leaders, and then there's some stick jockeys, right? They just
steering wheel holders.
So what's a stick jockey for everyone?
Not a professional truck driver.
They're just right? Going through
There's
the motions.
There's a distinct difference, right? And you can see it in the way a person takes care of their equipment, the way they take care of their personal hygiene, the way they take care of their customers.
You mentioned
Jared exemplifies it.
Now your drivers are almost your primary face-to-face interface with the customer. So it's a big deal how they handle themselves.
They're ambassadors.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And we get a lot of invitations. Please let Jared come back. Please let Joey come back. Right? That goes a long way for us.
Yeah.
And then when something goes awry, that driver has a relationship with that customer and can typically patch it together. If you're late or you had some weather delays or something.
Now, you're currently, and like everybody, always looking for drivers.
Yes, we've done some things recently in terms of pay schedules and health benefits that have really put us at the forefront of being attractive to people. But more than the pay, more than the healthcare benefits, it's the culture that we try to measure up to every day. I have to earn his respect every day. I approach work just like that.
Mm-hmm. And you've mentioned some other companies you worked for that were not ideal situations for you. And certainly when you look at the busy, crazy life you're living now, in many ways, but very rewarding life, they couldn't afford you these opportunities.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. One of the problems with driving truck is you're expected to work the long hours all the time, and people aren't always willing to work with you. You're there to do a job. They expect you to work 60, 70 hours a week, max your time out. Road Scholar obviously wants you to work as much as they can. They're not making money if the wheels aren't turning, but they also at the same time understand that in order for you to want to be here, there's a little give and take.
Mm-hmm.
They have to work with you. We have to work with them. It's really a professional relationship between company and employee. And for the most part, it's a good one.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to ask you in a moment, but I want to start with Jimmy. But I'll ask you the same question momentarily, and we'll do this every time. Because, I mean, look at the goal of this and this conversation is to recruit drivers and quality people like Jared to drive for Road Scholar. So I turn to Jimmy Barrett first and I say, why should the driver come to Road Scholar?
Well, a deep question. Culture trumps everything, right? There's no one in the company has firing power. No one can fire anybody else. If we have a dispute between a dispatcher and a driver or this or that, everybody takes the day off and gets paid, right? Cool down, figure it out. The last thing we're going to do is have a disagreement with Jared and say, you go home and you're not going to get paid because he's not feeding his kids.
Mm-hmm.
So it's much more of a reward mechanism than anything else. There's no punishment mechanism.
Mm-hmm. Now, we've discussed at least briefly the difference between the Road Scholar experience as a truck driver and some of the other places you've been. If you were to talk, and you've already given this speech, obviously, because you recruited a couple of drivers, if you were going to talk to a driver and say, and he would say, or she would say, why Road Scholar? What would you say?
As long as you have experience you need, because as far as I know, we're not hiring new drivers. All our drivers are very experienced. I mean, any driver knows that you're going to have some bumps and bruises along the way. It's part of it, part of learning. Get that experience in and come here, and they'll work with you on whatever you need. I've even heard the phrase, whatever you'll give us. They want you to work. They understand that you have personal things in your lives, even if you don't have a family, you have other issues.
Mm-hmm.
They'll work with you here. It's hard, especially for over the road drivers. I mean, we have some here, but I don't believe most of them are out like 5 days a week or whatever.
No,
a lot of them
not at all.
Out for 1 or 2 nights at a time. That's not what I do, so I don't know everything they do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a day driver, so I'm home every night. They have those positions. It's very flexible on what you can do here. You're not going to be stuck on the road. If there's any kind of inclement weather or something, they want you to, you're the captain of the ship. So it's on you. If you think it's safe enough to go, you're going to go. If something happens, it's on you. But if you don't think it's safe,
Park it,
get your rest, and then pick it up when the roads get cleaned up. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to coming here. The health benefits, which I hear so much about, I don't use just because I'm covered with the guard. So I'm going to be gone for the next year, so I'm not going to pay for those benefits. I'm going to have them for free. But when I come back, I'm already thinking about picking them up because they're more beneficial, cheaper than what the National Guard is offering.
Mm-hmm.
Think of that.
Yeah,
that's big.
That's pretty good.
Well, we set an objective. We sat with our insurance broker, healthcare provider, and said we want to have a remarkable program that people want to be here, right? And we carved it out. Of course, it's an investment, no doubt about it, but a noteworthy investment. The average cost to a single person with the $750 a year deductible is $20 a month.
Pretty darn good.
A family plan with the $750 deductible is $120 per month. So it's...
That'd be industry leading, I'm sure.
I think it is.
Yeah.
We test it, and it's very, people appreciate it. What's the right thing to do?
If I was to summarize, and then you agree with me or add in, both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Number one is flexibility, I guess. Number two, pay and benefits. Number three, equipment. Number four is respect. And number five is growth. Those things are all available to you in this job. And you're a sparkling example of that as an opportunity for any driver.
Absolutely.
Jimmy?
We're going to miss them for 10 months.
Well, good luck over there. Be safe.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
We were with Jared Thomas and Jimmy Barrett of Road Scholar Trucking and of the Army National Guard. We appreciate all you've done for this country. We appreciate what you do for this company. And I'm happy you came to explain to potential drivers, here's what we offer. Here's what we have. And it's a great thing, and it's a real opportunity. So I appreciate that very much, Jared.
Thank you. It's been a good experience being able to discuss everything here.
Yeah. Jimmy, thank you as always.
He's our rock star.
Yeah. And I'll bet you have a few more.
We do.
And we'll be talking to them over the months. Once a month, we're going to be talking to a driver at Road Scholar along with Jimmy Barrett, who will move into the position of co-host for these conversations. And we just want to talk to drivers and potential drivers to have them come to Road Scholar, have them give us an opportunity the way Jared received his, and let us show you what we can do for you as a career. Bob Cordaro saying thank you. Thank you again, Jared. Thank you, Jimmy Barrett.
Bobby,
Thank
Jared,
you.
thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks.